What's going on, everybody? So today I am in my 2008 Saab 9.3 Turbo X, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about Saab cross-wheel drive and what it is. So cross-wheel drive, or what is essentially all-wheel drive for all intents and purposes, wasn't really a thing for Saab. You know, they didn't introduce it until 2008. 2008 was the first year that cross-wheel drive, or essentially anything besides front-wheel drive, had really been offered in a Saab. Pretty much everything else in Saab's history had been front-wheel drive. Being from Scandinavia, a place that's very cold with a lot of snow, you'd think that they would have developed an all-wheel drive system sooner, but they really didn't, because they always said that you don't need all-wheel drive. Our front-wheel drive systems are good enough to where you can get enough traction. Really, that was true, but when you had companies like Mercedes with their 4MATIC system, BMW with their xDrive, Audi with their Quattro system that had been out for a decade, for some of them even 25 years or so already. They were really late to the game, and who knows, maybe that cost them some sales in the end. Maybe that is one small reason that helped lead to their demise. I'm not going to talk about that in this video because that's not what it's about. But their cross-wheel drive system. So let's get back on topic. On this car, the Turbo X, this was the first car to feature cross-wheel drive, and this was the car that Saab used to kind of market their cross-wheel drive. So you can tell from the badge on the back, right under Turbo X, there's a little XWD sign that of course stands for cross-wheel drive. So the system itself was developed by both Haldex and Saab. They kind of worked together to make this, and it was used in some other GM products as well, but we're just going to be talking about mostly its use in Saab products today. So it's what's called an intelligent cross-wheel or all-wheel drive system, which means that it's not just, you know, at all times it's sending the same amount of power and torque to all wheels. For example, when I'm cruising right now, I'm only doing 45 right now because I'm on a surface street, but I'm cruising right now. If I were cruising, whether it be at 45 or 50, or if I'm cruising at 65 or 70 on the highway, this car is not still a cross-wheel drive car. Well, technically, yes, it is, but for all intensive purposes, it's a front-wheel drive car. So right now, it is basically a front-wheel drive car, and Saab did that so that way it can help maximize your fuel economy. So to get more specific on that, right now it's sending about 4% of the torque to the rear wheels, and everything else is going to the front wheels. Of course, you know, if I'm at a stoplight and I get on it, or I'm doing low speeds and I get on it and I need traction from all four wheels, it can send a whole lot of power to a single rear wheel all at once. And upon takeoff, the Haldex system can actually lock both the front and rear axles, and then, you know, help you get the best acceleration possible. In another scenario though, if I'm on the track and I'm taking this thing around some tight turns, or I'm just pushing it hard and really testing the handling, the cross-wheel drive can send up to 85% of all available torque to a single rear wheel. So that's pretty cool. And when you really think about it, when you're doing some high-speed cornering or trying to take turns as fast as you can, it really does help. So, you know, that's just one of the things that really helps Saab differentiate it from your standard all-wheel drive system. Now, I'm not saying that cross-wheel drive is the only all-wheel drive system that can do something like that, but it is definitely a step up from your standard all-wheel drive system. Since I've only had this car for a month, and since I live in the desert, I haven't really gotten to test this in the snow or in very wet conditions, really. But I was reading a lot online. You know, I was doing research, basically just reading what other people said when they kind of reviewed or drove Saabs that had this drivetrain in it. And a lot of them said, you know, if you're taking this car in the snow, or if you're taking it somewhere where traction might be hard to get, the cross-wheel drive does a very, very good job of handling that and helping distribute power to where it needs to be to help you stay as stable as possible and to give you the best traction possible. So like I mentioned earlier, the cross-wheel drive system was first debuted in the Turbo X. Now this car also came with an electronic limited slip differential, or ELSD, as you'll pretty much always see it abbreviated, and that was not standard on most other Saab cross-wheel drive products. Now, for those of you that know about the 9.3X, which is basically just a 9.3 lifted up a couple inches with cross-wheel drive on it, and then you have the 9.4X, which of course had the optional cross-wheel drive, and also the new generation 9.5. Every single one of Saab's new cars that were coming out after they had debuted cross-wheel drive had cross-wheel drive, if not standard, as an option. I looked a little distracted there because there was a nice 9.5. there's a 9.5 back there, which I doubt got picked up on camera, but if it did, and you saw it, you'd understand. So one of the downsides, I think pretty much the only downside actually, of owning a Saab or an Opel or, you know, the few other GM products that had the cross-wheel drive system in it, is the maintenance costs and the potential repairs that can come with it. Now, in my last video where I mentioned things that I don't like about my Turbo X, I talked about maintenance costs and talked about the cross-wheel drive system briefly. The cross-wheel drive system is something that does need to have service done to it. So it's not like a front-wheel drive car where you don't really have to do any service to the drivetrain. So you do have to change the fluids and the oil and the filter and whatnot, and I've been told varying mileage on that, like I mentioned in my previous video. I'm gonna probably be doing it every other oil change, so when I do my first oil change in this car, I'll be doing an all-wheel drive service. And of course, when I do that, I will film a video on it, because from what I've seen, there's zero information online of how to do a cross-wheel drive service. So if anyone has any tips or anything, let me know down below in the comments. Parts can be expensive. So you have your normal maintenance stuff like filters and oils, like I mentioned, but if something on the system breaks, that can be very expensive. So I've heard that a new ELSD on this car is like $5 grand or something crazy like that. So needless to say, as another Saab just drove by, better safe than sorry with this, and just spend a couple $100 every year or so just to get serviced, rather than risking something breaking and going catastrophically wrong. So with that being said, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. If you have any more questions or comments about the cross-wheel drive system, please comment them down below, and I'll see you all next time.